We have got a new toy today from WU Audio.
We've had it for a while.
Okay, we've had it for a while. It's been out for, I don't know, maybe a few months at least now. It's new to us, in the fact that we originally used it in CanGen, New York in February.
Right.
So anyone who was there at our booth got to listen to it. And we had a Diana TC on it, and it sounded pretty damn good. And a DCS.
Lena.
Yeah, the Lena, DCS Lena DAC. Sounded pretty damn good. So this is the WA23.
Right.
They put the word Luna after that, Luna. So
Right.
I guess that's its name if you don't want to use letters and numbers. So it's the WA23 Luna tube headphone amplifier. And it's a pretty basic design. I mean, it's basically a 2A3 single-ended design. And this is the stock configuration we have here. And it has an external power supply right here, which they do supply an umbilical cord that goes between here and here using some really nice connectors, military mil-spec connectors. And they wanted to keep, I know they told me they want to keep the power supply external because, look at it. Right. Why would you need it external? There's no space.
That's right. I mean, I remember that was the first thing I noticed about it is when I took it out of the box. It's not that it was heavy. It was heavy, but it's that how like compact and heavy and dense it is.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's just solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's only standing maybe, 3-4 inches high.
It's not that high.
The damn thing weighs a ton. It's all transformer.
Right.
I guess WU Audio had custom transformers made to be as compact as possible. And by the way, those transformers, from sonically speaking, sound superb on this amp. So not only did they customize the shape of the transformer, but it works really well with this amplifier design. So, I mean, really good job all around. You got to admit.
Well, yeah, and I also like that it's a non-traditional tube amp design. Like, it doesn't look like the standard box with visible transformers and everything.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot sleeker, more modern.
There's no cages. There's nothing. You would think it's a solid state design looking at it if it wasn't for this stuff in the middle here.
Yeah, that's kind of a giveaway, yeah.
And the cool thing is, one of the reasons we like doing an overhead on this is because this amp does look cool from above and from the sides and from the front.
Yeah, it looks good from all angles.
Yeah, and from the rear. Yeah, I mean, the industrial design in this is just top shelf. It's cool, and it really, relatively speaking, for a tube headphone amp, it doesn't take up a lot of real estate, really.
Yeah.
You could probably get if you needed a longer umbilical. I think the one that comes with is what? Is it a meter?
It seems like a meter. It's pretty long.
Maybe a little shorter.
Yeah.
So you could put this supply off the table. Yeah. I'm sure WU can get you an extra length on that if you wanted to put it somewhere else. So you could basically, come down to this one-piece box solution for an amp with a headphone and call it a day. So let's go over what this thing's got. It's a basic amplifier. So you want to start with your side?
Yeah. Well, kind of hidden. I remember when we first went to go turn it on, you couldn't really tell where the power was, but it's right underneath the button underneath the volume control. And then to the right of that, it's impedance.
The low high
impedance, and then the 1, 2, 3 for the input selection, 2 RCA and 1 XLR, and then a standard 1/4 inch headphone jack on the side.
Yeah, and on my side, we've got the 4-pin balanced headphone jack, 4-pin XLR. This selects the actual output, whether you want it to be headphone or preamp. And so this can act as a tube preamplifier, so you could use it in a 2-channel system.
Now, it is only XLR out, though, for that.
Balanced only out, yeah, which most people have. But, yeah, you never know. Mm-hmm. But that's true. It only puts out XLR at line level to a pre. And then this knob allows you to select impedance, high or low, to match the impedance of your headphone. And, of course, we have one serious volume control.
Yep. I like how they put it on display. You cut a little cutout on it so you can see the brass underneath.
Yeah, most companies would just bury it in a chassis.
Yeah.
They were smart enough to highlight it and make it part of the accent of the amplifier. Mm-hmm. That's not just any volume control.
No, it is not.
It's pricey.
Yeah, they're like $1,000
yeah, just for the volume.
One volume control.
What is it? An RK50? You said
RK50 Alps. Yeah.
Yeah, serious volume control. So yeah, you're getting some quality componentry in this thing to go along with the looks. Mm-hmm. we can quickly cover the backside, but basically, you know, they're all on your side.
Yeah, right. So
There's not much there.
Yeah, 2 RCA inputs and an XLR input, and then the umbilical, and then the preamp XLR out.
Yeah, in the middle is a jack for the umbilical cord going to the power supply, and then you have a set of XLR outputs to go to a separate system if you want to use it for a preamp.
Mm-hmm.
And the external supply is pretty beefy. I mean, it feels like 5-6 pounds. It's obviously all transformer 2 in a nice heavy aluminum case, and it's got your IEC inlet for your power cord and the other end of the umbilical or the mil-spec plug for the umbilical cord to connect to the 2. So, and that's it. That's your amp.
Mm-hmm.
So besides the beautiful look of this thing and the heft of it and the top shelf components, let's talk about sound.
I mean, when I first heard it was, coming out, I figured it would just sound like, a less powerful WA23, because essentially it's a baby WA33.
Yeah, which would have more tubes.
Right. Double the.
Way bigger, way bigger everything too.
Yeah. But it actually doesn't,
Agreed.
It's got its pros and cons, right, compared to a WA33.
Yep.
It's obviously less powerful due to having less tubes. So.
Yeah. Which is still pretty powerful.
Right.
Because the W33 is just ridiculous. It's just basically nearly unlimited. I mean, it's okay. It's
for
not
most headphones.
It's not a 300 watt monoblock speaker amp, but it's some serious gain out of the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I find the thing with the last listening of this thing, it really excels in like older recordings, like classic rock 60s, 70s stuff. It just makes them sound as good as like an old recording can sound, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's smooth and it's just natural sounding. And I think that's where it really excels.
Well, that's the thing, it's got this solid state almost signature to it, to me, but yet it has the, I wouldn't call it warmth,
right,
but it has the space of tubes with this solid state impact that's like stupid fast.
Yeah, it's not quite to the level of the best solid state amps in that regard, but it's good.
Right.
For tubes, that is.
Well, that's the one thing I noticed the most, I think, is like the sound of impact and even vocals. Like vocals really stand out for some reason with this amp. And I mean, the thing is you could tailor that with tubes.
Right.
If you wanted to change, we're listening to stock
we
tube
use
complement.
the stock, so.
Yeah. I mean, they're fine.
Yeah.
They sound great.
Yeah.
We were running this with Diana TC, which is a very finicky headphone out of all the 3 of our headphones.
Yeah.
It's probably the most finicky in terms of amplification. Clear as a bell.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds great, and we could count on one hand the amps we like with Diana TC.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good.
I mean, you could run a 1260. You tried a 1266.
Yesterday I tried it before because I knew we were going to talk about it, and it's fine.
You could do it, but I would suggest a 33.
Yeah, right. That's the ultimate with that headphone. Of course, then that's the base model is actually a little less than this at $8,000, the WA33. But then when you get into what we're accustomed to, better tubes.
Yeah, well, it's way more expensive to upgrade.
Yeah, you're at the $14,000 to $18,000 range for a W33, properly done up, Yeah. But hey, it is what it is,
And I prefer the looks of this to the WA33 myself.
Yeah,
and it's
agreed.
More compact size.
Oh, it's a very modern looking tube amp, which is, if you got the wife factor involved, this is nice.
Yeah, it looks good just sitting there, not even using it.
Agreed. Yeah.
Which is nice from normal standard boxes,
But yeah, in terms of just the clarity of this thing and really like listening to it on Diana TC, which is a really low distortion headphone, you'd notice any other distortions in the system pretty easily.
Yeah.
This thing's clear. And tube amps tend to be noted for being a higher distortion than say they're solid state equivalents, right? Yeah. This thing's really low distortion. You just don't hear it. And I think that's what plays well to a lot of music that's out there where, you're going right to the source, which probably also says that you should match this up with a DAC of equivalent level or better. This thing likes level too, by the way. If you're going to put a DAC on it, you're probably best to run balanced in on it, if I would say, because that's going to almost ensure you got enough voltage coming out the DAC.
Yeah, actually, we've only ran balanced on it, so.
Yeah, in fact, in CanJam, we were running the Lena set for 6 volts out.
Right.
Its highest setting going into this balanced. And the reason I said it is because some DACs are crazy. They're single-ended RC outs put out way too much voltage. They exceed 2 volts, which is the standard, 2 volts RMS. Some of them only do 1.2, 1.5.
1.
Yeah, your Sony player is 1 volt.
Yeah, right.
So on RCA, single-ended outs, you might be gimping the output of this thing, where if you go to balanced, as far as I know, most everything runs a nominal, at least 4 volts and up, balanced out.
Yeah, it depends, but yeah.
It does depend. So beware of that.
Yeah.
If you don't feel you're getting enough gain out of this amp, then take a look at your source. See if the settings are up in the higher settings for it, because it'll take it. It's tubes.
Yeah. Or you might need a WA23.
Yeah, or you need more power.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, I listen to 12 to 66. It goes to a pretty high playback level even on that inefficient, headphone. To have a bigger amp than that, yeah, maybe if you're like every once in a while I want to turn up, but honestly it's dangerous because, you're getting to a point where you're going to damage something, So I'm not saying that I ever did with that one. It's still not, to me, the W3 isn't big enough. It's at the level where, you're approaching the possibility of damaging things. We've seen some amps that are beyond that where they do damage the headphone.
Yeah.
And it's usually just by mistake. It all sounds great until it doesn't.
Well, that is how that works.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things.
Just a fuse,
Well, that's the beauty of this thing. It's got plenty of level for any headphone, but it's not over the top. So I think it's pretty safe even at full volume. You'll be all right. Like your kid goes up to it and goes like that.
Well, at least with any of our headphones, you are.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can't speak for other more efficient
Very
headphones.
efficient stuff, yeah. IEM's probably not. You wouldn't want to. Yeah. This is way too much.
I don't even know what the spec is on this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the wattage spec is, but it sounds like a good few watts.
Probably,
going into 50 ohms. It's not running out of steam on a 1266 or a Diana TC. So anyway, I don't know what else we should cover on this other than the fact that these are currently available. They're there. We have them on our website. We're a dealer for Woo Audio. Of course, Woo Audio has them. I'm not sure who else carries the WA23, but yeah, we do have them, and I believe they only come into one color, so it's pretty easy to choose here. I don't think they have a silver variant on this.
I don't think so.
This is the look, and it's a good look. So
there's only one use case where I'd say, that this isn't the best at, and that would be if you're listening to high-level EDM music, right?
No,
if you want like every last bit of impact,
right?
I use a Broadway, right?
Yeah, on a Diana.
Yeah,
yeah.
But anything else?
Well, sometimes it's hard to beat the abilities of solid state output.
DC coupled,
in the extreme DC coupled. You have the extreme bottom.
Yeah,
that amp is exceptional. For size of the Broadway.
Oh, that too, yeah.
It's exceptional at the bass, on a headphone like that. But if you want some tube goodness with that type of capability, this is my new favorite for tube amps. And I have the WA23, the JPS edition at home. Okay, I love that. When I'm listening to like Ace rock and roll with that, like AC/DC or something. I want the WA33. I gotta admit, on a 1266, but on a Diana TC, this is my choice.
Well, that's why I usually use a Diana, so this is why I picked this.
Yeah.
But yeah, 1266.
Yeah.
Yeah, 33.
This just has a lower distortion level and a greater clarity to the source than, any other tube stuff I've used. And it's not to say that people are always looking for that.
True.
But if you want the beauty of a tube amp and the sonic character of tubes mixed together with the impact and speed of solid state, this is pretty good.
Yeah, if you're not looking for that overly lush 300B kind of can usually sound like.
Yeah,
this ain't that.
No, it ain't that. This thing's ultra fast, clear, not bright, good balance, top to bottom, good amp.
And good looking.
Really good looking. Nice job, guys at Woo Audio. Jack and the team, beautiful design. I hope to see more of this in our niche industry.
That's right.
Beautiful. On that note, everyone, if you got any questions on this amp, give us a call anytime. Email us. We're here for you. Take care, everyone. Thanks.